The latest coming in from UAE, where 3 people, 2 Indian nationals and 1 Pakistani, have been killed in what is being called a terror drone attack. It took place at Abu Dhabi's new international airport, which is currently under construction. Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthi movement has said it is responsible for the attack. Let's go straight across to the guests who are joining us now, because remember, there is a greater worry for India that what happened in Abu Dhabi could also be replicated in India. Group Captain Anupam Banerjee, former spokesperson of the Indian Air Force, joins us along with defense experts Major General Sanjay Meston and Colonel S. Dini. I want to ask you first, Group Captain Banerjee, the kind of attack that has happened in Abu Dhabi, how do you see it? What kind of drones do you think were used for something of this magnitude to have happened? Sir, I think you've muted yourself. Can you please unmute that? Unmute your computer.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Please go.
Yeah, good evening, Padmaja. Yeah, this kind of attack have happened earlier also. This is not the first time this attack has happened. We have had, events like this happening earlier in Russia, in the Khmeim Air Base and Tartus Naval Facility in Latakia, where, a swarm drone has attacked. We had similar attacks in the Saudi Arabia earlier. And now we also had one or two drones attacking that in Jammu Air Base. So the threat of drones attacking targets, military or civilian, and inflicting a very low-cost warfare, whereas you can just trouble the thing, and we do not have systems world over as of now, which is very well developed anti-drone system. The world is working towards this. So with AI and drone technology improving every day, it's a cat and mouse game where this is becoming a very, very a favorable tool of the terrorists across the globe. So from India's point of view, it is definitely a worrisome situation. This kind of attack can happen. And the worst thing is that, this kind of attack can happen anywhere. You can secure few of your bases, few of your military installations, but this can cause attack in any civil gathering, in a place where the terrorists want to create a news blip, and they want to do something. It's a very easy mode of attack. It is available with so many people. You can just drop a little bit of explosive here and there and cause very great damage. What
the layperson is trying to understand, I'm sorry to interrupt you, what the layperson is trying to understand is what we saw in Jammu. Yes, drones were used over there, but thankfully minimal damage was caused. There was no loss of life, and even to the structure itself, there wasn't huge, it didn't affect it much. As opposed to what we've seen today in Abu Dhabi, where 3 lives have been lost, more people are injured. I'm just trying to understand what is the difference in the kind of drones that could have been used.
See, the total attack, we do not have all the information now, but my guess will probably it will be a swarm of drone which would have attacked, because this has happened earlier. And the drone attacks, I don't know if you're aware that even in Venezuela in 2018, their president was speaking when he had a very narrow escape. So probably in Jammu we had a narrow escape.
Yes.
But basically what we need to understand that this is a live threat, not only for India, for across the globe, because the technology is so easily available to do such groups which wants to create problem. And what better way than to just get into things like this, where you can just use an unmanned aircraft somewhere, go to a place, just cause some explosion, and you are getting instant attention of the world. So this is a very, very low cost way of inflicting damage and getting yourself into the news, which is that they're wanting. And world over, we are looking now for systems, because you see, you have to understand that for a large drone, which when we talk about unmanned aircraft, the military drones, they have a fairly large radar cross section.
Yes.
But these are the ones which are smaller drones, and they don't get captured by the normal radars. So there is not enough system which is placed across the globe where we can differentiate, because drone is something which is changing the way logistics will happen in the coming few years. So just to
Yes.
stop few terrorist attack, we cannot really. It is like internet. You have so many good things about internet, but
Yes.
internet can also be used wrongly. Similarly, so India is looking for solution. Fortunately, the
And
Jammu attack had been a.
since you brought up the solution, since you brought up the solution, sir, that's where I want to bring in General Meston as well. Where exactly does our anti-drone strategy stand at present? Because I remember soon after the attack in Jammu, DRDO had spoken about how they have a system, an anti-drone system, that a prototype of which has already been prepared. But do we have a coherent policy? And if not, then why not? General Meston.
Good evening, Padmaja. What appears is that probably now there is a policy because in the last 1 odd year, many policies have been issued. One of the latest policies was issued by the Ministry of Civil Aviation pertaining to the drone rules, which was issued in July 2021. Now, this is all in open domain. I have glanced through the entire policy, and it has spelled out quite large number of things, including who all would be the stakeholders. But since it has been spelled out from Ministry of Civil Aviation, apparently it is for all the stakeholders, including the Air Force, the Army, etc., the BSF and CISF. But what I'm trying to say is, the policy which has been issued by Ministry of Civil Aviation is very, very comprehensive. It has even classified the type of drones right from nano, which is less than 25 grams, and the highest version is the larger drones, which are than 150 kgs. Now, in this particular case, I think my apprehension is probably it is a larger drone, maybe more than 150 kg. But coming on to the Indian context, I think policies have been in place. Coming now to the armed forces, our policies cannot be in open domain. But the fact of the matter is that since Ministry of Civil Aviation has spelled out their policy, and including, the CISF, in Bangalore, they have spelled out a policy for the cyber park, what we have over there, and that is also fairly comprehensive. So I'm quite sure policies are in place. Now, this will give a further impetus. And another thing, Padmaja, is that what are the kind of equipment we have to counter these drones, which even the group captain was highlighting. I think the DRDO had recently, in the last 2 odd years, they have spelled out the D4 drone system. Plus, we have the Israeli Smash system, which can be even put on a Israeli Smash, which is Smash 2000. So this is also probably available. And I think there is this thing in Bangalore or in Hyderabad. I think one of the companies has developed some kind of anti-drone system. So to sum it up, from tracking the radar and the soft kill / destruction, it is in place, but I think India now needs to prioritize this on top priority. Maybe the National Security Council has to really dwell on it.
In fact, and this process has to be expedited, because let me remind our viewers, and of course you gentlemen already know that in December last year, the Raksha Mantri in fact had presided over handing over of anti-drone system from the DRDO. The defense minister said that we've handed over these counter-drone systems which are developed for detection, deterrence, destruction of incoming drones to CISC by the defense minister. Now, Colonel Dinny, the process has already started. Shouldn't we expedite the induction? Because if DRDO has already developed it, why is it still with the CISC? When will they be deployed?
Ma'am, your question is quite valid, but I'm sure that, the things are moving in that direction. Like as far as this anti-drone system is concerned, we have to see it in two different things. One is the technological aspect, which is there, the anti-drone system. And the second is the standing operating procedures, which will come in place, wherein the human element will come into place. Here, I would like to, draw the parallels like what we had when the suicide bombers were taking, big numbers were coming, and people were worried that how do we, overcome this menace. And one has seen actually in the valley that a human being is, even more dangerous than a drone, because he has the mind to change targets, he has the mind to adapt himself to anything, and then. But we have neutralized that also, and that has happened through two things. One is the technology, and technology here was to get the accurate intelligence. So that, like you rightly mentioned, destroyed even before when before they actually went into going into that operation of blowing themselves. So here I feel that the intelligence setup would be behind these kind of activities. And secondly, the technological aspects as far as the DRDO is concerned, both will be meshed up together, and I think we will have a robust mechanism to take care of these kind of things. My only suggestion, or my only thing what we should keep in mind in UAE and the Indian context is that in the UAE context, the entire area is high value targets, because everything is petroleum based and petroleum products and all those things are there. So anywhere a drone goes and hits, it is a huge thing. But in India, those high value targets are not in such a quantity, surely because of the size of our country. So these differences are there. But having said that, I think we are moving in the direction, and in the near future, we will be coming out with a strong policy.
But sir, I hope that never happens, but we could have similar high value targets. For example, ammunition dumps that could easily be targeted. If it can happen in Jammu, it could happen somewhere closer to the border as well, if someone was to use this kind of a strategy. Group Captain Banerjee, would it be an exaggeration or fear mongering to say that if this is not arrested immediately, it would pose the same kind of danger that, say, a suicide bomber does, except that it would be even more difficult to detect and prevent?
Absolutely. It's a mechanical suicide bomber. But one thing you need to ask is that anti-drone system is not one system. It's a combination of various systems. So far, we have been able to do some technology infusion in some of the system. Anti-drone ranges right from a net to capture a small drone to a laser gun. So it is from one end of the spectrum to another end of the spectrum. So it is there is a requirement of the nation to understand that you cannot guard every inch of your land. It is such a vast country. So you need to have the regulatory mechanism in space. Basically, what we say in the identification between a friendly drone and a not so friendly drone. So this work are in progress. The country is not that we have woken up only after the Jammu attack. The work was already in progress. But after Jammu, the impetus which was required has been given to this. So I will summarize it like this. This is very dangerous. It is as bad as a suicide bomber, but it has got an artificial intelligence and it is armed with a lot of latest technology. We have worked in this direction. DRDO alone cannot provide all the solution. The private industry is also working for it. In fact, I am part of Society of Indian Defense Manufacturers. We have done an extensive study on what are the requirements, and we are working on that. But most important thing is to understand that there is to be a security orientation in all our mind, so that our security establishment, police establishment need to wake up to this threat and understand that this threat is a live threat.
Yes.
So if tomorrow some drone is floating around here and there and we do not know what is the requirement, somebody should pick up and say that where is it coming from? Because the regulatory mechanisms are coming into place, but we as a nation are still not totally attuned to this. So there is a requirement of the overall, and we will have to do it, because there's no way. This is a live threat, and this kind of attacks across the globe, every time we'll only point to that direction. We need to wake up quickly and get all our acts together.
Absolutely.
And ensure that everybody is safe. It is a live threat.
If anything, the magnitude and the ferocity is only increasing if one was to go by the examples from around the world. And we have an example right here in India as well. Thank you very much, all gentlemen, for having joined us with your insight and your expertise. At least we have to be awake to the problem so that we address it. And that, in fact, is being done on a real-time basis as well. Thanks very much for joining us. Quick break.